Hello, what up my friends, what is going on? This is Martin from the 46 coming at you with a tour review. Today we're having a look at the Mcfarlane Assassin's Creed figures Series 2. We're having a look at today at Adéwalé. Awesome. The only thing I really got to mention is the fact that, first of all, I'm very surprised that these particular figures of Series 2 from Mcfarlane figures from Assassin's Creed are actually released in the Netherlands quite soon. If you've seen my last video, the first look at it on 2014, the video game convention, which was in my city, there were some shots here and there that I showed a little collectible store, which was comictoys.nl. Comic Toys, actually a comic store I never heard about actually had these figures in stock, and when I saw these figures on the shelf, well actually on the stand itself, I was actually blown away with the fact that these figures were actually in the Netherlands. Because if you have seen my review on the Tyranny of King George Washington Connor, I've explained a lot of the story why these figures aren't that easy to come by here in the Netherlands because of the codes in Assassin's Creed Initiates and all kind of stuff. But I was blown away with the fact that that particular comic store had these figures in stock so soon. Of course, these particular figures are actually available here in the US for around, I think, almost 2 months. And these figures just came around here in the Netherlands this month, which is very, very cool. So I've actually picked up Adéwalé both with Adéwalé, so Adéwalé will come very, very soon in the review as well. But first we have a look at Adéwalé. Let's have a look. This is of course Adéwalé from the DLC game Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag Freedom Cry, which was also released as a standalone game if I remember correctly. But my opinions of it shortly, I really liked the DLC. I thought the DLC was done very, very well. Of course, the DLC game is a little shorter than a useful game, but still for a $15–20 price point, this is actually worth buying a game like that. Because yeah, sure, it has only 9 missions, I think, but the graphics and stuff are still just as good if you compare it to Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag, and the graphics on AC4 Black Flag are incredibly amazing. And did I necessarily like Adéwalé as an assassin right here? I did. I absolutely do. He also is returning as a mentor in Assassin's Creed Rogue, which I'm very, very looking for. But this is of course Adéwalé from Assassin's Creed 4 Freedom Cry, and the design itself looks really, really, really cool. Taking a shot at the head sculpt. The head sculpt is quite nice. You really see Mcfarlane actually improving on their figures, if you ask me. The first series of Mcfarlane Assassin's Creed figures is of course a series that many people didn't like. Of course, the Edward was a good figure, but many people didn't like the Connor, many people didn't like the Haytham figure, and but of course Mcfarlane made a second series, and I gotta say, they've actually improved their head sculpts quite a bit. I think the head sculpt on Adéwalé is looking really, really good. The expression on him is really, really nice. The nice little lines on his, well, the tattoos on his face make him looking very, very cool. I also really like his tattoos on his face. I thought the tattoos make him looking extremely awesome. Some people will ask, is the hood removable, just like in the Edward Kenway figure from Series 1? Well, you can peel the hood off. And you can actually see a sculpted head sculpt, which is very, very nice. But the hood itself isn't removable. Well, you can actually, of course, peel the hood like so, but it's glued right here. Of course, you can rip the hood right off here, but if you rip the hood off right here, you can't really put the hood back on. So Mcfarlane actually decided to actually leave that and glue that back on, so you cannot actually destroy the hood itself. But still not too bad. You can actually still see a full-blown head sculpt underneath the hood, so that is pretty nice. The rest of the body itself is looking very, very cool. You can really see all the details that Mcfarlane brought into the figure, into the vest itself, which is really, really nice. I really also like the added scars on his chest. And the overall clothing itself, how it has been made, is really, really nicely done. This is of course that very nice pliable plastic, which is a nice improvement against the very first Connor released figure and the Haytham figure. Many people didn't like those figures because those particular sleeves were a hard, solid plastic, and because of that you couldn't really move the legs all that much. But Adéwalé doesn't have that problem at all, which I do like. Of course, you can see the vent braces right over here, which are actually the same vent braces like Edward used in the game itself. It are actually the same vent braces that Edward has, but I actually do like the fact that Adéwalé has them as well, because I don't know what it is, it really suits his character with this particular color and detail. And of course you can see the hidden blade, which is very nicely sculpted, if you ask me. Actually the same sculpt if compared to Edward, but for such a small piece, I think it's very nicely sculpted. You can make out the skull, you can even make out a little assassin emblem on the top. Overall, I think the hidden blade of Edward was actually one of my favorite design hidden blades. Yes, it's quite the same as design-wise, like Ezio's, or yes, I say Ezio's. It isn't as different like Connor, which of course had the hidden blade which can turn into a dagger, and of course not as special if compared to the Phantom blade, which Arno has in Assassin's Creed Unity. But I think still, as design-wise, the Pirates or the Black Flag hidden blade is by far actually one of my favorite designed hidden blades. Take a look at the back. You can see, of course, all the armament and tools he used in the game, all the different sort of weapons. I will later come into the accessories more so, but you can make out the blowpipe right here. You can make out the big musket, not the musket. It's of course the blunderbuss, and of course the very huge, but the very deadly looking machete. I also really like the attention of detail into the biceps. Look at those arms. Look at those arms. Absolutely awesome. This is clearly an assassin you don't want to mess with. I found Adéwalé actually one of the most muscular and one of the most broadest assassins out there, if you ask me. He is clearly, again, not one of those assassins you really do not want to mess with. But definitely a nice detail into the arms itself. You actually can see the veins, which is quite nice. Let's take a look at the articulation. The articulation is quite the same if compared to all the other Assassin's Creed figures. There's some, of course, hiccups here and there which people do not like, but I actually still am impressed for a Mcfarlane figure. The articulation is definitely much more impressive if compared to the old style retro Movie Maniacs figures. Let's have a look. Besides the fact he has a hood, he still has a ball-jointed head. So you can move it side to side, up and down just a little bit. It's still a ball joint, which is quite nice. He has the ball jointed shoulders, so you can move the arms in and out, back and forth, all the way around. You can rotate the forearm, you can bend the elbow, which is pretty nice. You can rotate the hand, which is also on a ratchet joint. You can rotate slightly the waist, not that much, but you can still rotate it. The legs, of course, still a bit tricky, but they are on a ball joint, so you can move the legs. You can move them in and out. Back and forth is a bit of a problem. You cannot really move those legs really that much forward, which kind of sucks. I think still the Edward figure has the most movable legs with the Tyranny of King George Washington Connor. But besides the fact you can move the legs in and out, you can't really not move Adéwalé legs back and forward that much, which kind of sucks. But it could have been worse. You can rotate the knee itself. You can bend the knee, which is nice. You can rotate the boot or the mid-calf, and there is a ball-jointed ankle. In the way of Adéwalé his accessories, actually Adéwalé right here comes with a lot of accessories. The first of all, he comes with a chain. A very cool chain with cuffs. This is actually not one of the weapons that you do use in the game, but it's a nice little added little accessory which I do like. You can use it if you want to make a stop motion for a background item or something like that. It's quite nice that Mcfarlane actually put something like this into the figure itself. Second accessory, of course, he comes with both his extended hidden blades, and of course, if the camera wants to focus, and here we go. Of course, you have the hidden blades, which are again nicely sculpted. I really do like the sculpt. It has a little bit wear and tear on it, which is a very nice touch. Of course, if you want to switch out the hidden blades, it's quite simple. It isn't the same like the NECA figures, but you can of course still remove the hidden blades from the vent braces. Of course, you got 2 holes right here and 2 tabs like here, right here, I'm sorry. Of course, it's quite simple. You have to put this hidden blade, I'm sorry, into the vambrace itself, like so. And there you have Adéwalé with an extended hidden blade. The other accessories that Adéwalé comes with is the blowpipe. I really do like the fact that Mcfarlane included a blowpipe with this figure, because this is actually one of those technical weapons in AC4 Black Flag that you actually tend to use a lot. So that's a nice touch that Mcfarlane did. The only problem is you cannot really pose Adéwalé with the blowpipe like he's using at someone. Of course you can hold it, but you cannot really. Well, maybe you can make him a little pose like so, and then, well, you can make a little pose with him, but it's not really that dynamic. I'm sorry. You can pose him like he's using it at someone, but this is actually the best you can get. The other weapon he comes with is, of course, this huge and very cool Blunderbuss Rifle. One of the very first shotguns back in the day. So there's a little bit of history right here, but the blunderbuss right here looks really nice. The paint scheme is very nice. It looks weathered. There's a little bit of detail in there as well. All the little details in the not the musket. I keep saying musket, but of course it is blunderbuss. But all the little details into the blunderbuss are actually very nicely done. The paint scheme is quite nice. You can see all the wear and tear into the blunderbuss itself, and the gold color makes it very nice. And here you have Adéwalé holding his blunderbuss. Again, like the blowpipe, it is a bit tricky to actually pose Adéwalé with the blunderbuss or the blowpipe, but if you take the time, you actually can make a pretty good pose with it. And if you want to house the blunderbuss, it can be held right here, like so. And last but not least, Adéwalé comes with this very iconic and very big machete. A very nice looking machete too. Look at that machete. That is definitely one of the coolest designed machetes I've seen. Of course it's a machete, but a very different looking one. It is not your basically typical Jason Voorhees machete. This is a very huge, very sharp looking machete. You can actually make out the Jolly Roger skull on the bottom of the blade itself. And I overall really do like the design. That handle is quite simple, but I do definitely like the colors and the choice of red. The blade itself is very nicely detailed. It's quite simple. There's a bit of paint here and there, but it looks very nice. Of course, you can make Adéwalé hold the machete, of course. And this is probably the way how I display my Adéwalé, with the machete and with an extended hidden blade on the left hand, like so. Overall, again, a great figure made by Mcfarlane. Mcfarlane is actually stepping up with their game, with their figures, and I really do like the results they're actually making with their Mcfarlane figures. And gotta tell you, I am definitely impressed with this figure. If I got to give this figure a rating, I will give it an 8 or an 8.5. Adéwalé right here is a great figure. Of the figures of the wave, I still need to do a review on the Adéwalé de Grand Prix figure, so that will come soon. Until then, this was again a tour review for Martin from the 46, and I see you guys next time with another review. Later!